are you today? It's cold and wet and rainy here. Yeah. But it's a very typical March day, and even though we're going into May, so we're about a month behind, I would say, at least. So this week we're going to be painting a summertime tea, which is this cute little teapot. I've got a bunch of other ones already drawn. I've got two started. I'm trying to match up which ones. So I got a whole bunch of teapots coming up. I also in the middle of doing the finishing off the piece for my membership group for your month of May pattern. So I'm working on that too. And it's just been a really, really busy week. We got a ton of product in. All of the plaques that we were sold out of, the arched plaques we were sold out of, the 8x10 panels we were out of, everything came in today. So we have had a busy week of just restocking and getting a bunch of stuff done. And too much new stuff came in that we didn't know who to do our shout out for this week. So we're going to pass on that one for this week. But I got to talk to you about the love, the Happy Meal that came in this week.
It's not a beer, don't worry.
I got a parcel arrived. Was it yesterday afternoon?
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon. A parcel arrived, and it got Renee and I both hit both of us right in the feels. Got to tell you. So you might notice I keep touching this little thing here around my neck. This little bumblebee. Is this not the cutest freaking thing ever? This little bumblebee. It's adorable, and it has a little silver heart attached to it. It's just got me in the feel good spot. And there were 2 cards in the parcel and just the sweetest notes inside. I won't read them because I'll get all mushy and leak and it just won't be pretty. But both Renee and I each got cards in this parcel.
You know who you are.
You know who you are, Miss Gail. Thank you. But inside Renee's card was this. With a note.
I haven't gotten money in a card in a long time.
The note inside was so sweet. And the note at the bottom says, enclosed is a small donation for the puppers from my beautiful rescue, Chloe. Thank you again, Gail Woolsey. Gail, we will put this in with the rest of the Super Chat funds and make the donation for the month of April to our local SPCA. Thank you so, so much. You got both of us. You made me leak because now I've got a really adorable little bumblebee to wear and to add to my collection of bumblebees. Thank you so much. And of course, we're thrilled to be able to add your gift to our donations for the for our local SPCA. So thank you so much. You made our week. So see, it's a good thing I didn't read the card because I'm leaking anyway. So
Just thinking about it made you leak.
Yeah, I know. I'm a sook when it comes to this. I got some really cool stuff in this week though.
Yes.
I'm a little bit obsessed with,
Edward.
Edward. Poor Edward is going to need a 12-step program by the time.
And if you don't understand that joke, you gotta join the membership program and enjoy the fun we have on Tuesday, at the last Tuesday of every month.
Oh my gosh. Edward had us in stitches and then I just compounded it because I tend to pick a word and then stick with it for a while. And lately my word has been obsessed. So some of the pieces that I've been designing lately have postage stamps in them. And we were using images printed off, but they're fairly limited and the picture quality isn't the greatest. So I went looking for stamps that we can use, like for mixed media and things like that. And I hit the mother load.
Jessica's wondering if we're drinking today.
No, we are not. I'm having tea. We never drink on Saturday afternoons. I don't day drink. I'd be asleep by 2:00.
And I don't have coffee with me today.
He's drinking a San Pellegrino.
Yeah.
But we got some beautiful, these are stickers for mixed media. They're beautiful. So we got a bunch of these in, and we're doing them up in sets. So you'll get like 6 stamps in a set type thing. So plenty to do a project. But the idea was to make them, reasonable. But, oh man, they're so pretty. There's vintage style. There's some with butterflies, a lot with flowers and whatnot. But they're beautiful stamps. So we got a bunch of those in, and we'll get those up on the website soon. But I got really excited about these. Who knows why? I tend to get excited about the oddest things these days. And I tend to get very obsessed about the oddest things these days. So we're going to paint our summertime teapot.
Summertime teapot.
I like that. I have this minor obsession with daisies and polka dots lately. So everything's got polka dots in it and daisies. I have no idea why.
Edward's going to end up with a liver condition because of you.
I know. So just to fill you in, the joke is Edward lives in South Carolina, and so he was having a glass of wine for our class because we were running actually later into the evening, 8 to 10 o'clock. And so he was having a glass of wine, and he said, we should have a drinking game. I'll take a drink every time you use a specific word. And the word we chose was obsessed. And, well, needless to say, he was probably...
I don't think he was painting by the end of the night.
I don't think anybody was, to be honest. But it made for a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. But, I'm obsessed with the word obsessed. So, what else did we do this week? Oh, we added a new camera so that we can eliminate that.
Yeah, they can see it.
Yeah. The new camera, we're having issues with the other one. And we wanted to eliminate that problem. So Renee and I went out shopping. Yeah. And so we have a new camera added to the studio. So hopefully we can still use the other one for other things. But
we also got another toy.
Which is kind of cool, so that now I have the ability to switch cameras, not just Renee. It's a pretty cool thing. It's called a Stream Deck. And so all of the imagery, the buttons, and I can change from one camera to the other and screen to the other. And I don't really need him for that. But I need him to set it all up because I have no idea. So we added a little more stuff to kind of improve things a little bit. And I'm anxious for you guys to see the picture quality of this camera.
I have it set right now at the highest quality it can broadcast at.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see what the picture quality is going to be like. So having said that.
Oh. Want to mention your microwave?
Yes, my microwave. I went to...
She has officially replaced every appliance in the house.
Every appliance we had officially as of this week. So in the last, since September, the refrigerator?
In this last year.
In the last year, yeah.
You replaced
every single appliance. Yeah, it just seemed everything broke down this year. And the other day, and I have this big, beautiful, built-in over-the-range microwave, fan, whatever you want to call it. Sorry, pardon me, my nose is running.
Oh, Marjorie Eaton is celebrating 7 months as a member, and she says, good morning, all from Loon Lake, Washington.
Oh, I'm kind of jealous. Loon Lake is a pretty area. So yeah, the microwave. I went to put something in to defrost it, and it beeped, but it didn't do anything. And I thought, well, that's strange. And then it beeped, didn't do anything. And then I went to do it again, and it just quit. No power, no nothing. So we had to go looking for a new microwave. And if you have been shopping for appliances in the last year, you know what kind of challenges that can bring. So we just got lucky, found one at a local store that fit. I won't tell you about the details of getting the thing installed, but I now have a new microwave range over my stove. So, and it matches my stove, which is exciting. So yes, it's been one of those weeks. Every single major appliance in this house has been replaced. So now something else will break.
Well, we replaced a camera.
Yes, we did. We replaced a camera. Might have to replace my computer if it does that crap again. So
yeah, at least you got
I have a laptop, so I'm not too worried. But
you have backup.
I have backup. Just frustrating. I don't.
I wonder what button I have to press next.
I see a green flag on the... What does that
Oh,
say?
we already talked about that.
Oh, okay. I just always...
It's the Marjorie Eaton.
Excellent. All right, gang. If you guys are ready to get started playing in some paint...
Pressing the button.
So am I. It's just what this camera quality is going to look like.
Okay, you can actually bring it closer to you.
Yeah.
Much closer to you.
Oh,
There you
Denise Van Newkirk is in.
go. Oh, Shay. Oh, wow. Okay, there's all the...
Wowzers. There's all the chat.
Yeah, all the chat's coming in now.
All the chat's coming in. Wow, that's quite nice. The camera quality. Little shiny spot there, though. Don't like that, but we'll fix that. So this is the piece we're going to work on today. It is the mate to the teacup, the summertime tea teacup. I love, you put black and white stripes and polka dots on anything and I'm going to like it. And this is just a fun piece to paint. So I've already prepped mine a little bit by putting down some white gesso and then a couple coats of warm white. And I'm telling you, I got this thing about daisies and polka dots lately. Don't know what it is. So our first step for this piece is I've got 2 coats of lamp black on this background. And I sanded lightly between coats, and then I used just a wash of heavily thinned lamp black over top of it, just to give me a really nice smooth finish. I'm working on an 8x8 wooden art panel. This is a cradled panel. This can be done on an 8x8 canvas just as easily. But 2 coats of lamp black, make sure it's nice and even, no heavy brush marks and whatnot, and you are good to go. Once I traced on my pattern, I base coated the things that were going to be white, the areas of the teapot and the butterfly. I base coated those with a little bit of gesso first, little thin gesso, just so that I would get good coverage, because using white over top of black means 4 or 5 coats paint. So a coat of gesso and then 2 to 3 coats of warm white over top, just to give you a nice uniform finish. And then we're going to start with our polka dots. Of course, I chose the dirtiest polka dot stencil I could find.
It's not dirty. It's well loved.
It's well loved. Okay. We'll go with that.
Oh, I got to move that.
So I'm going to start with a little bit of lamp black. Now, if you want to, if you prefer to, here's a couple of options. You don't necessarily have to make all of the white with black polka dots. If you wanted to switch it up a little bit, put white polka dots on the black areas, or just reverse the color pattern, go for it. It's not going to hurt anything. So if your preference is to have, black polka dots, then go for it. And if you want white polka dots, then paint everything white. Use the white instead. Just do it on the black areas. So I'm using just a small, I've got a 3/8 stencil brush, just because it happened to be sitting here. But any good quality stencil brush will do the job. Circular fashion. Change directions frequently.
You do that to make us feel better.
What's that?
The dirty stencil, I'm guessing.
Oh, goodness. There's certain stencils that I use so often that I don't stop to clean them. And this one has been seeing a lot of use of late, so.
Oh, Nancy Walters from Australia says, hi.
Hi, Nancy.
She says, good morning. Tracy and Renee from Australia.
We have lots of friends in Australia.
My mouth is still burning from that kimchi.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good kimchi.
So this is the nice part. I'm going to lift up my stencil. I like the fact that because I'm working on a black background, if I get the black polka dots on the outside, it's okay. So I really should have cleaned this stencil so that I could see that tag. But I'm going to take a little bit of tape and I'm going to tape off my tag. What did I do with my tape? Oh, here it is. I'm going to use a little bit of tape. I just don't want to have black polka dots all over my tag. That's all.
You're up to 158 cult members.
Cult members, okay.
That's how many viewers you have.
Okay. Now, I've done this type of technique an awful lot in the last couple of years. And that's okay, because we can have fun with it. Okay, I'm almost there. I just don't want to get black polka dots all over my tag, and then I'm going to spend, 5 coats of paint trying to cover up black polka dots. I don't want to do that. So, there. That's all I really need to do.
It's 2 a.m. in Australia.
Wow.
It's 2 a.m. Should be asleep, but watching Tracy is good, relaxing therapy. More fun than counting sheep.
Oh, I hope so.
If you want, I could add some lullaby music to help you out. I'm kidding. It'll make everybody fall asleep.
We don't want to do that.
No.
So again, I'm just working in a circular fashion and changing directions frequently. And all that does is just, it helps you get a really nice, even application.
Ooh. Kelly Albright. Hello from North Carolina. I'd like to go check out North Carolina sometime.
North Carolina is a pretty state. The Carolinas in general are very pretty.
And there's Connie Boswell from South Carolina. Hello from Texas. That's my favorite state.
Everybody loves Texas.
I love Texas.
I love Texans. Texas is a great state, but Texans are awesome people.
I'd love to live in Texas.
I have had more fun with some friends from Texas.
Hello from Tennessee. That state I love. Love that state.
Okay, look at that. Ta-da! I just realized I put polka dots on my leaves.
It's all good. You can make it look like a bug was eating it.
I could, yes. So I'm going to come down here. This is just a thin, narrow spot. I don't need to have a ton of polka dots on it, but for the sake of continuity, I need to have some. There we go. Now, I prefer to leave the handle just white. I honestly don't think that everything needs to have polka dots on it, but I'm going to now add some polka dots to my lid.
Yeah, we're getting mixed opinions about our postal service. Some are getting them really quick. Some aren't getting them at all. Or they take too long. But Linda Martin says, thank you for the stencils I ordered. They came so quick. Love them.
Good. I'm glad. I'm always glad when things arrive quickly.
Linda Johnson, thank you, ma'am and sir. Texas is a wonderful place to live. Born and bred.
I've been to Texas many, many times, and I have never not had a great time.
There you go.
Yeah. It's always been a fun state to go. The people are really welcoming and friendly and helpful. And I've always had a great time when I've gone to Texas. I've always been treated very, very well. I made a boo-boo. I got a polka dot that was supposed to be on the top, and I got it on the base. So I'm just taking a little water and a stiffer brush, and I'm just going to gently wash that dot away.
Ooh, what if you put striping on the handle?
Stripes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put stripes on the handle.
Wait, that's an easy thing to accomplish. Let me grab a... I need a nice sharp pencil. So if you wanted to, let's try that. Why not?
Renee, you only love Louisiana for food? Yes. Otherwise, no.
Why not? I love Louisiana. I've been there several times too.
Because I haven't been?
Yeah, that would be why.
That would be why. But I do love Cajun and Merrill cuisine. It's just delicious.
He loves food.
I love food. But I also like Tex-Mex.
See, and that's where you lose me. I'm not a fan of Tex-Mex.
Texans do barbecue.
Oh, and they do it so well. Okay. I got to think about which way these stripes are going to go.
That interests me.
Yeah.
I don't like swamps. And when I think Louisiana, I think, welcome to the swamp.
Welcome to the swamp. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to grab a little bit of warm white because I have a couple of things I want to fix.
Mind you, I could think the same thing about Florida. And there's so far, I apologize for the people in Florida. You don't have a good rap.
I don't know. I enjoyed Florida. I've been there numerous times.
Yeah, but not when the headlines of every major news article is Florida man, Florida man, Florida man, Florida man.
Okay, well.
It's just...
Yeah. No, Florida is a lovely...
bet it's a nice place.
My first experience in Florida was interesting. I was down there for a major trade show. I guess it wasn't really my first trip to Florida, but it was the first really memorable trip to Florida because I was down there to work, doing some work with Home Depot and Martha Stewart. This was a few years ago. And I came out of my hotel. I was meeting some people for dinner, and I came out of my hotel, and they said, the restaurant is really close. It's like 5 minutes away. You just walk over that little bridge, and the restaurant's just on the other side. I couldn't get across the bridge.
Oh.
There was a humongous alligator in the middle of the road, and I'm not walking past that thing. So everybody was wondering why I was late for dinner because I couldn't get across the road because of the alligator. I'd never in my life seen anything so big or so terrifying. So I like to go back in.
Tara L. Ellis.
Okay.
I asked a question on shading on a shading color for a painting I was doing on Cindy Harrison's Artfully Connected.
Okay.
I laughed because Asphaltum was the most recommended over and over. Lots of Tracy Moreau fans on there. Well.
Oh my goodness, that is funny. Somebody asked me recently why I use asphaltum so much.
Because it's transparent.
Well, one, it's transparent. Two, it lends itself well to the type of thing that I do and to the design work that I do. But asphaltum it's a toning color. It's much like using a raw umber or a burnt umber or, or Payne's gray. It's a toning color. It warms things up. It deepens things. And depending on how heavy you put it on, it can make it look dark and dirty, or it can make it look light and soft. It's very, very versatile. And a lot of people never used it simply because they didn't know what you could do with it. Now that they know what you can do with it, you can do,
all sorts of things with it.
So it makes for a lot of fun. So I didn't like the edge of that tag. It was not pretty, so just cleaning it up. I hit a couple of little bobbles.
Anyone finding the audio skipping?
No.
Shouldn't be.
Should be fine. If you're finding gaps, it could be me turning away from the microphone.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a little spot here where I remember where I painted polka dots on my leaves. I'm just going to make those go away. I put warm white or gesso on these leaves so that I'm not putting 10 coats of green on, and then I put black polka dots on.
I'm
So
going to turn the audio on this broadcast. Let's
see if that helps. Okay, so I think I'm just about ready. So, and I've got a little spot here where I painted polka dots on my leaves. So it's now time to pokerize or polka dot our butterfly.
No, we're good. Our audio sounds great.
I'm going to grab another stencil brush here.
I asked Calgary artist Nicole Miller where to get Dynasty brushes in Calgary, and she told me contact Tracy. In Calgary?
In Calgary? Oh.
Oh, Deb's got a place.
Stockade. They're in Ontario. Stockade Stocks. Oh. Which Deb?
Deb. BC Deb.
Yeah?
She mentioned a place that had Dynasty brushes last time.
Stockade. Not in Calgary that I can think of.
Delta?
Delta Arts carries Americana, all of the Americana colors, but they don't carry Dynasty brushes.
Oh, right.
No,
right.
The distributor in Canada for your Dynasty brushes is going to be stockade.ca.
Yep.
Okay, Trace. Ever have one of those days where you're just determined not to do things the way they're supposed to be done?
Like kicking the camera?
Like kicking the camera, like grabbing a clean stencil brush and then promptly putting the wrong color paint in it. Like I just did. So I'm going to add black polka dots to my butterfly.
Okay, that must be in reference to the audio issue.
What's that?
Oh, she just said, okay, I think it's just me then.
So I've got just lining up some polka dots. I want to get as many polka dots on my butterfly as I can, so, and still maintain it. So I'm holding it in place, lamp black, circular fashion. I want nice uniform dark polka dots on my butterfly.
A couple of tra-la-las asked, where are you located in Canada?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in a little village of New Maryland, New Brunswick.
Tiny town.
Little tiny village.
It's not even a town, it's a village.
It's a village, yep. We're in southern New Brunswick.
Having a grand old time.
Yep.
Note to Deco Art Americana fans, they forgot to put traditional burnt umber in the catalog, but it's not discontinued.
Yeah.
Okay. It's good to know. They didn't put it in there.
Yeah.
Eesh. Sadly, no Dynasty brushes in Calgary. Have phoned every art place and got a no.
Yeah,
Ouch.
They're difficult to find out west.
Check out the brush guys.
Yep. Brush guys will ship from California. Their freight is very reasonable. They take all forms of payment, and you get a coupon code. If you use Tracy M, it'll give you a discount on their already wholesale prices. So You're already paying wholesale through the brush guys. So even though you're paying in US dollars, you're still paying 40% less than you'd pay anywhere else.
Yeah. And on top, an additional 10% off, I think.
I think it's 5%. Yeah.
5? Yeah. 5% off. So you're getting brushes at 45% off.
No. It's an additional off the 40. So 5% off of the 40, off of the wholesale price.
Yeah.
So it's actually a little better than 45%.
Jeez. Math.
Math.
I know what you're thinking.
I know.
Let's not go there.
Yes, let's not. So I have polka dots on everything. Everything. I love polka dots. I don't know about you guys, but I love polka. Now, I've used the little tiny one This is the 1/8 polka dot. We have oodles of these in stock right now. You don't have to use the 1/8. If you prefer something a little bit bigger, then by all means use the 1/4 inch. There's a 3/8. You don't have to use the little teeny tiny one. I just happen to like it for this type of thing, but you don't have to use it. What is that other one? Is it 51 is the random polka dots? Hand me one of those.
51 is, random.
Yep, random polka dots.
You got a variety of sizes on it.
Yeah, see, now, I think that if I were to enlarge this a little bit, maybe not even enlarge it, this would be so fun to have a variety of sizes and shapes on a teapot. Like, instead of doing the stripes, just do a nice chunky, chubby little teapot and then cover it with random polka dots.
It would look like something from Alice in Wonderland.
I know. I just think it would be really fun.
Pretty neat.
So, needless to say, I have an idea for this because I really do love polka dots. I'm trying not to use the word obsessed.
As you just used it.
And I used it anyway. So, the center of our flowers, I'm going to use a little bit of, I've got a coat of gesso on here. I'm going to use a little bit of Sunny Day. And I think that's wrong. But that's okay. A little bit of not Sunny Day saffron.
I've been admiring your teapot posts.
Kind of.
I don't get to watch much as I usually am working when you're live. Been missing the party. Oh, you got a day off? Congrats. And enjoy.
So I'm just going to put a little bit of saffron yellow in the centers. You can use any yellow you want. Saffron seems to be my favorite yellow these days.
I think I might have to do a teapot. A more masculine teapot.
Somebody had messaged me the other day and said if I was going to do something perhaps geared for Father's Day. And I'm not sure. I was actually thinking of doing
I think the barber sign that you had lined up would be good.
Yeah, barber sign. I remember a few years ago I did a gentleman's box for, I think it was Pixelated Palette magazine.
Yeah.
Your father has the original. It's on his desk. The movies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, and that one is a fun one, and that one was originally done with.
Steampunk teapot.
Ooh.
I can already see it. The little bent and crooked,
and gears.
Whistle.
Yes. Yeah.
Where the steam would come out. The
Yeah.
steam whistle.
And gears and rust. And heavy metal. And ooh, that'd be so fun.
Calm down.
I have like
Her imagination is going a mile a minute now.
I have at least 5 things.
And you can incorporate the steampunk dragonfly.
Ooh, that'd be pretty.
There you go. Steampunk's looking pretty good.
I love steampunk.
Sheila, to match your blender? Oh, that was Sheila that mentioned steampunk teapot.
Well, she did her KitchenAid up in a steampunk theme.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, it's very cool. So, all of those leaves that have got that coat of gesso on, I'm just putting on a coat of antique green. Now, I went with a coat of gesso because these leaves, an antique green is a little transparent. If I didn't put something down, I would be fighting against all that black. So...
She's from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
She's not from, big soda. She's from Minnesota.
We're familiar with Minnesota because we lived right across the border from Minnesota.
What?
Well, North Dakota.
Yeah. It's not Minnesota.
No, but Minnesota's not far away.
No, it's not far away, but you still got to go through 2 states to get there. I think.
Minnesota?
Yeah, I think 2 states. Yeah. There's only 2 states that I would actually can see myself living in.
Yeah.
And that's Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Montana would be gorgeous, but I would want to be closer to the mountains.
Yeah.
And Texas.
I could see myself living in the Northwest.
Yeah.
Like Marjorie Eaton lives in Loon Lake. Anywhere.
Loon Lake, Washington.
Oh, that part of the world is just beautiful. And I fell in love with Idaho when I was out there. It's a beautiful state.
That's like smack dab in the country.
Idaho is beautiful.
Really?
There's mountains, there's prairies. Idaho is a beautiful state. Beautiful state.
Antique green looks yellow?
Yes, it does look kind of yellowish.
That's the white punching through.
That's the white punching through. And I would honestly rather fight against the white than fight against the black when it comes to this green, because putting it over top of black, it just looks like awful. It does not cover well over black. White's a little bit better, but it does read very yellowish. And not a pretty yellow either, I might add. It's kind of a muddy yellow-ish color until you get a couple of coats on.
Yes, go check out Rachel Cooks on YouTube. If you want Mexican or Tex-Mex food, go see Rachel Cooks. Yeah. That's where I got my burrito recipe, my taco recipes, my fajita recipes from. Was her. And she's awesome. And they're delicious. Now I'm hungry.
You're always hungry.
And I just had a big bowl of kimchi. And my tongue is still numb.
You're welcome.
But it's so tasty. Homemade kimchi. So good.
And it's not hard to make. It's easy to make.
Texas has 5 different regions. Which would you pick? Ooh. I want to stay away from Houston.
Houston's a nice city.
But because it's a city.
Yeah.
That's why I would want to stay away from Houston. It'd be a nice place to visit every once in a while, but I don't think I could live there.
Houston is a lovely city.
I've heard
Galveston.
really
Loved
good
Galveston.
things.
San Antonio. San Antonio's pretty too.
I'm trying to remember the name of the place. Give me a second. I have to go to my Instagram because I get a friend who lives there. Where is it? What do we got? Tracy, may I post the link to my mixer on...
Absolutely,
Oh,
Sheila.
yeah, go for it.
Absolutely. I got to tell you.
I didn't realize that was Sheila.
Yeah, Sheila Leonard. Her and I have similar obsessions. She has a KitchenAid. I have a KitchenAid. She painted hers. It's flippin' awesome.
You would have weather shock in Texas? No, I wouldn't. I lived in Afghanistan. I can handle Texas.
Piece of cake. I'm the one that could not live in that heat. I would die.
As long as it's not too humid.
So you can live anywhere near the Gulf then, because it's just brutal.
Yeah.
Houston is humid. Just like Tampa is humid. Oh, my Lord. I don't do humidity. I don't like heat. I find it was funny that time I went down to Florida and realized that there was an alligator in the middle of the street. And he didn't appear to be in any grand hurry to leave. One, I was shocked at the size of it. That in itself was an eye-opener for me. I'd never seen an alligator, so I had no frame of reference as to how bloody big they can get, but they're huge. So, but the fact that I was walking down the street in Miami. There was an alligator. That kind of threw me. There we go. Alrighty. So we have the most important base coats are all done. I've got the warm white polka dots on the teapot and on the butterfly. My tag is all base coated with warm white. My leaves are base coated with antique green. The centers of the flowers are base coated with either sunny day or saffron yellow, whichever one you prefer. I like the brighter yellow. That's just me. So we are ready to start the actual work of getting this piece finished. And so I'm going to start by shading our teapot, and I'm going to do that with my 1/2-inch angled shader. And I think I'm going to grab a new one because mine is looking a little sketchy. I gotta be honest. So, or a newer one.
Does that make sense? San Antonio, Texas?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio?
Another pretty place.
Yeah. And I would only want to live there because there would be somebody I know. So that way I could be like, help.
Yeah.
Where do I go? How do I get there?
But this is the thing about
GPS
Texans. Somebody would, all you'd ever have to do is just ask somebody.
Yeah.
And they're, you know.
That is true.
Yeah. Texans are awesome.
But somebody to show me around and get the lay of the land is a little bit easier.
Yep. So, I know you're going to be shocked by this, but we're using asphaltum to shade
I was
our
going to
teapot.
try and go lamp black.
No. No, I typically use asphaltum to shade things. Everybody knows that at this point of the game, I think. But quite honestly, you could do the shading with a little bit of burnt umber. You could do this with Payne's Gray. All it's going to do really is just change the overall temperature of the piece. That's all it's really going to do. I prefer to keep my colors warm. Even when I'm working with a cool palette like I am in this particular case with this white and then these blues, I'm adjusting the temperature by using some asphaltum. So I'm going to use, I've got a 1/2-inch angled shader.
Really, Jessica? You donated $5 just to say that the green looks like baby poop brown? It does.
Yeah, it does. It's not a very pretty green under the lights. But it will be when I'm finished.
Oh, it even looks like that in real life.
Yeah.
I'm looking through a camera going, yeah, it's slightly green.
No.
And then I look at the YouTube and it's like, oh yeah, that is brown.
So I've got nice float of asphaltum. Now I heavily thin this because I don't want it full strength. So I shade right on the white.
Looks like baby poop green. Baby poop brown.
I really do like this warm look that this brown gives, this asphaltum. So I've got that nice wide float. And again, I'm always thinning out that color. I very rarely use asphaltum full strength because it can be a really obnoxious color if you use it full strength. And I want it to be very transparent. And I need my mop brush here because there we go. So put my shadow in and then I float.
Nope, Faye Reed's got to go to the Zoom. I'll watch the
She's got a Zoom class.
Who are you watching?
I think the Art Waves convention is on this week, so I think that's what she's doing.
Oh, and you're not doing Art Waves? No. They didn't ask you?
Oh, they always ask, but no, I had so many other things I wanted to get done that I didn't submit this time around, but I will next time. I have found in the last little while that if I agree to do too many things, then I don't do any of them well. So I'm just put the focus on doing my lives for the time being. Oh, goodness. Jeez, could I have messed that up any better? There we go. Good Lord. Got way too much in my brush, and now I gotta come back in and take some of this out.
If you have a silhouette cameo or a Cricut, you could put vinyl sayings and etc. on your mixer.
Yeah, I have a Cricut.
Yeah.
I have two of them.
She has two of them.
See?
Oh, I don't have mine.
Everybody in the house has got something on their coffee cup.
Yep.
For me, it's be kind.
Mine says, "Come back with tacos." And I'm not kidding. It actually says, "Come back with tacos."
So I'm going to dry this because I hooped it.
Got my KitchenAid about 30 years ago when I was doing cake decorating.
I love my KitchenAid.
They're not cheap.
No, and they're almost, it's funny, I was looking at a new one, and this was, a year and a half ago. I was looking at a new one, and they were $450. Priced one the other day when Dad and I were out, and it was over $600 for the same machine.
Ouchie.
But honestly, if you buy a KitchenAid, it's an investment. You will not have to get rid of the thing or replace it. It's
true.
Just, I've had mine now for 14 years, 13 years, and it runs just
probably just needs a slight adjustment, but
if that. It's always been a clunky sounding machine. It's never ever given me a day's issue. I love my KitchenAid.
They last forever. Yes.
Yeah.
Like pretty much any KitchenAid product should.
Yeah. Well, for what you pay for them, they're worth it.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? So I'm just deepening some of these shadows underneath these flowers over here. On this side, like that. And then I'm putting a float underneath the flowers on the handle. And then
I had a gear go in mine after 12 years, but it was easily replaced for about $15.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get parts for it, then you're golden.
Yep. Well, the nice thing about a KitchenAid is that, and this is one of the things I appreciate about my KitchenAid, is that they have not changed the mechanics of that thing in probably a couple of decades. And so
It ain't broke, don't fix it.
and they work on a simple gear system. So if something breaks, it's easily replaced.
Oh,
It's a great machine.
yeah. You know what? We didn't talk about
Giveaways.
the giveaways.
No, we haven't. I don't think we should.
Did anybody mention this? Or is everybody just enthralled with what's going on? Did somebody mention anything about the giveaways in the chat?
Nobody has.
I don't think they have.
Oh.
Mind you, you know who I think may have?
Whom?
Linda Safranco.
Oh.
Trying to keep us on track. And
She's...
she may have said something, but I lost her in the chat. So
yeah,
if I missed it, sorry.
We do have some giveaways for today. We've got we have 3 sets of specialty brushes. There's a beautiful I think it's a 5/8. Oh no, sorry, it's a 3/8 rake brush, a large fountain brush, a script liner, a really nice long, extra long script liner, and a deerfoot stippler in black gold. So we have 3 sets of those. So there's a 4 brush set coming to you. Plus there's some other little goodies tucked in there as well. That's our giveaway for this week, courtesy of Dynasty Brush. They're beautiful Dynasty black gold brushes.
Yes, Linda did mention it.
Of course you did.
Yeah, she did. Okay. Jail Brewer is asking, how do you walk out your float without leaving stripes from the tip of your angle brush?
Oh, okay. That's a really great question. Let me...
You don't have to move anything.
No, but I need to get something else to put there. That's all.
Yeah, but, okay, no, you do have to move your palette.
I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to grab my palette, bring it over here.
And I'm going to readjust here. There we go.
So this is how I walk things out. So I'm going to pick up from my palette over here. So when I lay my float down like this and I need to walk it out, this is how I do it. I use the chisel edge of my brush to work it out. So you end up with a really rough look like this. It looks really heavily serrated. And then I can just brush right back over it like this. And it'll give me a nice soft transition, but it also widens the float. So I know you've probably seen me do this a number of times. I'm going to move that out of the way again and come back to this. I'm going to rinse out my brush. The biggest trick to walking out a float is making sure that your brush has a fresh amount of paint in it. So load your brush as if to float. Make sure you got lots of color in it. So I'm going to walk it out from the bottom here because I need to deepen this float. So I would put my float in place like so. And then I will take the chisel edge of my brush and I will tap and pull out like that, so that now I've got this sort of rough edge, and then I take that same brush and go over that edge. So now it softens, but it doesn't take this color away, so it lets that color walk out. You can also do it this way. Put your float in place and do it again and again, and then right over top of the whole thing. Keeping that brush wet is the biggest trick. So if I need a clean piece to show this on so that you can understand where I'm going with this.
That's me.
So
that's my name.
Put your float in place. And then you're going to, on the chisel edge, pull the color out like this. And then you're going to go right over top of that float. That's how I walk that color out. And I will go back over this with that wet brush a couple of times just to help redistribute that paint. But that's how I do it.
I've got too many brushes, said no one ever.
Never. Never, never, never. There's no such thing as too many brushes. So for this tag, you're going to put a shadow along that bottom corner. Asphaltum. You see how it's lifted that tag off of that surface? I'm not too worried about putting one up here, and I'll show you why. Because I'm going to switch to a smaller angled shader.
Aw.
What?
That's a nice message.
What?
It's a warm and feel good message.
Uh-oh, he's got warm and fuzzies.
Warm and fuzzies. Gets you right in the feels. It's about us.
Okay.
Makes me feel good that we affected somebody in this way.
Okay.
She has been missing the lives. This is Heidi Allison.
Heidi?
Yeah. You two are the perfect start of the day.
Aw.
Thank you for doing these.
Aw.
I don't know. You wouldn't want to see me in the morning.
Oh, he's a bear.
I
Not a morning person.
I am not a morning person. Never have been, never will be.
No. Unfortunately, I was very much the same. Not a morning person.
Coffee.
That is all.
Coffee before people. And people will survive.
I made his coffee cup label for him, and it says come back with tacos, but I edited it because it used to say go away and come back with tacos.
Well, why not the go away part?
Yeah, it just seems a little rude.
If I'm drinking coffee, leave me alone until the coffee is either gone or a good portion of it is.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Me neither, Renee. I'm getting a lot of people on my side on
I
this
know.
one.
So I've got all of my shading in place. I want to deepen it in a couple of spots simply because I don't feel I'm getting enough depth back here.
There should be a law against mornings.
Again, somebody that still thinks like you.
Yeah.
Renee believes that mornings should be outlawed.
No,
That we should just completely...
mornings are necessary.
Yeah.
Mornings are necessary. Otherwise, you don't have a change in day.
That's true.
So it's just afternoon and nighttime? No. You need a morning.
You need a morning. So there is an opening in this teapot right here, and we need an opening. Otherwise, the tea doesn't get out. And it's just this simple. It's a simple float of asphaltum like this. Just that long, elongated, round float like that. Now what?
The only one who can talk to me in the morning is my dog. I'll agree with that one. That's fair.
Yeah. I wake up Renee the same way I wake up Deb when her and I are traveling together. Rise and shining.
No. Stuff gets thrown at your happiness.
No.
I'm a morning person. My brain turns off at 3 p.m. See, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not a morning person.
His doesn't turn on until 3 p.m.
My brain goes until 3 p.m. and then doesn't stop. That's the startup.
Yep, that's the startup. Okay. So I have all of my shading in place on my teapot. We're going to come up to our butterfly up here. I've got a little bit of Bahama blue
Of course.
somewhere. No, I don't. Yes, I do.
If the dog could only bring me coffee. Deb, I'm not going to say it.
Your cup is bigger than your dog.
She said it. Get mad at her. My dog has squeak toys bigger than your dog.
Your dog could eat her dog. Daisy is so stinking cute.
She is
though.
cute.
Oh my
She is a cute
God,
pup.
she's cute. But she's itty bitty. So to shade this butterfly, I know that you guys have probably seen me do this a bazillion times. I tend to shade things that are white, like butterflies,
Go ahead, I dare you.
flowers. Yeah, I shade my butterflies. I shade white flowers. I always use a blue. It's more out of habit than anything. I have always preferred white flowers to have that little slight cast of green to them, like calla lilies and whatnot. I really like that that little citrusy undertone that you see in the white. And so I, out of habit, tend to go to a blue. But I wanted to tell you something, and then I'll show you something real quick. If you want to shade a butterfly, especially a white butterfly, try using something with a blue cast to it. So if you want it to lean towards the pinks, try using something with a little bit of violet in it. So a little purple tone to it will work really, really well. And then use that same color when you come down into your flowers. So it just does two things. It helps keep the color vibrant. It implies another color, and it also carries the color from one place to another so that it ties everything together. I habitually use blue just out of habit because I really like this tone and I really like how it looks. However, you could do this with a lavender and it would be super pretty too. So having said that, I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to wash off the blue. Yes, it's just that easy. over here to, I want a transparent. I'm going to use a little bit of Diox for this. Just to show you what a difference that it can make without actually painting everything a different color, that it can change the tone of how things look. So I'm going to grab a tiny bit of Diox purple. And I like Diox because it's a very transparent color. It's the same reason I use that cobalt teal, or I use that Bahama blue because it's quite transparent. And it's a nice soft blue. So I'm going to come into the center of this little butterfly here with a little bit of Diox. And I've thinned it out because I don't want it full strength. But I'm just using a little bit of Diox purple in here. The pattern uses that Bahama blue or cobalt teal, that blue tone. But just for the sake of argument and to show you how easy it is to customize this, I'm going to do this with a little bit of Diox. I just think it'll be fun. And how much purple you get is entirely up to you. So if you want to use more, go right ahead. And I like the, close to the body, I like to see a real punch. So even though this is going to be a white butterfly, it's going to have that little bit of zing of purple in it. So I'm using just a little bit. I don't know that it's reading all that well on camera, but you can always put on more. Ah, there it goes. Okay. I don't want this to be an in-your-face purple. I just want to be a hint of the color. And then when I do these daisies down here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the Diox instead of that little bit of blue. So I think you'll be surprised at how nicely this works. So then we've got this nice soft purple in here. And it's just that little bit close to the body. So you can make it as intense as you want or as light as you want. If you want bright blue in there, go ahead, use the blue. If you want a bright yellow, use a yellow in there. If you want that purple cast, then use the Diox purple. So don't be afraid to switch out that shading color. So when it comes to putting those colors into the flowers, don't be afraid to change it out for something else. Not going to hurt this. So I switched out the blue and we put in a Diox purple on this one. So next we're going to tackle these flowers. Now I'm using...
Should we spin a name?
Yes, we should spin a name.
All right. Spin time. Is it there? Yes. I'm going to move the wheel over a bit. There we go. They can still see you.
You can.
All right. Here we go. Spinning. Let's see if Linda Safranco finally wins one.
Finally?
Get out. That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's funny. She hasn't won one in quite a while.
That's funny. Yay, Linda.
That's hilarious. Oh, goodness.
She hasn't won in like 6 months.
Oh, yeah. And for a while, it was like every other week, but it was funny that she hasn't won one in a while. But yeah, that's great. Oh, that's funny. You can do one more?
Yeah, sure.
We'll do two and then he'll keep one for later on. We got a bunch of stuff here for giveaways, but we've been doing Tombow lately and haven't really focused on some of the Dynasty stuff that we've got because we've got boxes full of Dynasty stuff. So that was Cookie Cooper is our winner. Cookie. I love that name.
Cookie Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I got it.
So yeah, there's a nice little set of, it's a 4-brush set, Dynasty Black Gold, a Deerfoot Stippler, a fountain brush, a beautiful rake, nice little 3/8 rake and a extra long script liner in there. So a nice little 4-brush set. And then, of course, we always put the other goodies in, too.
Boom. I am on the wrong computer screen. Trying to use the mouse on the wrong one. And back down. So Linda Safranco and Cookie Cooper.
So we have your shipping information. We know where you live.
How does your name get put on the wheel? Well, you're a member, so your name is automatically put on there.
Yep. And aside from that, all you have to do is just participate in the chat. Hit the like button.
Hit the like button and participate in the chat. That's it.
Yep. Renee takes the entire list and puts it into the wheel. So I am just stroking in the petals. I'm using a number 2 rigger for this. I'm just stroking in the petals of the daisy with some thinned warm white. I load my brush fairly generously, and then I try to do each petal in 1 or 2 strokes for a couple of reasons. We do not need to base coat every individual petal fully for this. It isn't necessary.
Jessica! Why is Linda Safranco yelling Jessica's name?
So each of these petals, by doing them this way, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's stria, lines that come from the point to the petal down towards the center. And those lines create those natural stria that you would see in the petals of the daisy. And I like the warm white over the black. I like being able to see some of that black. They're not hard white. And it keeps them looking light and more natural looking.
There we go.
So they don't look like they're just blocks of white in there. Just like so. Like the stria. So we have a daisy base coated. And it's still, this looks nice and light. It doesn't look like a heavily blocked in or heavily painted in flower. And that's part of what makes this work, because there's a change in texture from the teapot to the flowers.
Say my name next, Renee.
So I'm just going to quickly stroke in these daisies.
Let me see the list.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I just prefer a less solid look when it comes to these daisies. It just helps keep them looking light and a bit more natural. And if I pull that paint all in the same direction, if you're not comfortable doing this with a big liner brush or with the rigger, use your favorite round. If a round brush is more comfortable for you for this type of thing, then by all means, use it. It sometimes takes a little bit of practice to do this with a rigger brush or with a liner.
There's a lot of Lindas on there.
Linda is a popular name.
We got Linda Griffith, Linda Johnson, Linda Olivieres, Linda Safranco, Linda Sprouse.
Linda's for days.
Linda's for days. It's like Luis. No, maybe not. Marie's. Holy poop. Mary's. Lots of Marys.
So I use a little bit of the Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze to thin my paint when I'm doing this, so that it flows off of that brush easily. so that I'm not fighting against it. And this way I also don't get a lot of ridges and heavy edges or whatnot. I don't like ridges. It looks kind of sloppy. So you got to make sure that your paint comes off your brush smoothly. And then that way you get a much nicer finish.
I think somebody asked if you're using a rigger or a liner.
This is a rigger. I'm using a number 2 for this. I use a rigger a lot of the time when I need good control, and because I find I get that with this brush.
But just one Jessica.
What's that?
Jessica's happy that there's only one Jessica. Let me go. I'm gonna
Our
look.
Jessica is one of a kind.
Let me see. Let's go find Jessica. See if she is the only one. It may have to. Oh, she is the only one.
Yeah. We had some new members this week too. A bunch of new people joined us, which is exciting.
What? Okay.
What?
So nope. Never mind. That is my mistake.
So I'm just going to quickly finish up. Oops, too much water. Finish up this daisy, and then we're going to talk about some of our shading while our daisies are drying.
I am the only Sheila, but I talk for 3 people.
That's okay.
My mom, Mary, in Florida, does not miss a Saturday.
I know. She's so sweet. I got a lovely little card from her the other day. It was so nice.
I bet you don't have a lot of Heidi's either. Nope.
We have 2.
We have 2.
Yep, Heidi Allison and Heidi Ferlot. Heidi Ferlot has not been feeling the greatest of late. So Heidi, if you're watching today, I hope you're feeling a little bit better. There we go. Okay. I got my daisies. It's all base coated. Again, I call this fast and dirty because this is each petal is stroked in, 1 coat of paint, no rebase coating. Because I want to keep those lines, that stria, that curve, and it does give you a really more realistic looking daisy. So I'm going to dry this. Now we're going to talk about some shading, and which brings me back to that butterfly. So I put a Diox purple in our butterfly, so I'm going to use the same Diox purple in our daisies.
Judy Thacker. Let's see if your name's on the list. It's on the list.
Yes, it's Judy. So,
See if I could see it on the wheel.
I'm going to come into the center of the flower, just like I would with the Bahama Blue, and I'm going to do that with a little bit of that Diox purple.
Oh, man.
Just like so. So each one of my daisies is going to get shaded in the center with that Diox.
That is hard to make out. Where is it?
And I'm going to do that to each of these flowers. So right at the base of the petal, sort of a little C stroke at the base. Just a simple little loose float at the base of each of those petals with that thinned Diox. Now, I switched to the Diox just so that you can see what a difference it makes, that you are not married, not obligated in any way to use just the Bahama Blue. You can use a nice purple. It's going to give you a different look again, but it works.
Where's Judy Becker? It's on the wheel somewhere.
Just like that.
Wow, that is hard to read.
It's a lot of names on that wheel, that's why. So in those shaded areas where there's overlap in the petals, closest to the center, right at the base of the petal, that's where that float goes. Just like that.
There's Faye Reed.
So now we have this sort of soft purple tone to those little daisies in there. So now I'm going to grab my orange flame. It's my favorite orange. Orange flame. Love that color. And again, I'm going to thin this out a little bit so that we have control.
I might have to sort.
And, oops, didn't quite get enough color.
Thacker.
So I'm going to float towards the front of that center part, right at the base. I'm going to put a float of that orange flame.
Patrick's heading out for a great evening. Have a great evening.
And then we're going to float that little divot in the center of the flower. Just like that. It's a little C stroke in the center of the flower, just to create that little indentation in the middle. I like that. I like the heat that this orange flame gives the centers of these flowers. They pop. So if I brought that up a little closer, you can see there's that little divot in the center of the flower. It's just a little C stroke. Now, for those of that, I'm going to do this really quickly. I had a lovely message from a couple of painters that were not necessarily familiar with some of the terminology that we use. And it's very easy for me to forget that not everybody knows this because I've been doing it too long. So I'm going to do this with a little bit of blue so it shows up on this white. So this is a float. This is when you're using that gradient to do your shading, just like what we did here. Doing a float and then referring to it as a C stroke means this. You're creating a C. And then an abbreviated C stroke is the same stroke, but shortened on either end. An S stroke is like this. I'm trying to remember which way it goes. Okay. My brain shut off. So an S stroke would be like that. No, it wouldn't be like that. Good grief.
Should do it with black. It's easier to see.
Well, no, I'm just trying to remember the mechanics. Okay. Oh, hello. Here. I went ass backwards. Bass backwards. There goes my PG rating.
And we're on PG-13.
So an S stroke does this. Down, over, and down on the angle.
You're allowed one.
45 degrees. An abbreviated S stroke is standing in on the chisel edge and coming down, short stroke, down to the right, and then a short stroke. And it creates sort of a diamond like this. But if you do it with a soft curve in it, you get a leaf. C stroke is a pronounced curve, looks like a C without the ends. So when I say a C stroke in the center of something, it is a very abbreviated C stroke. So that's what gives you sort of that little bowl in the middle. So it's a abbreviated C, a very soft C. And that's what gives you that soft little divot in the center of the petal, center of the flower.
Bunny leaves.
Bunny leaves. Yes, bunny leaves.
Just keep everybody updated.
So we've got the shading on our flower in the center, got the little divot going, got the shadow towards the front. We've got the that little bit of that diox purple instead of the blue, just to give us a slightly different look. Just so that you can see, this is with the blue, but it's still going to work, and it's going to work really well. Yeah. So you can switch out that blue. If you're not a fan of the blue, prefer the soft purple, grab a little diox and put that in there. It's going to give you a completely different tone in the end, but it may work better for you if that is your preference. So it's fun just to be able to switch it out a little bit. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of asphaltum, heavily thinned. Again, I never use this color full strength. And I'm going to put a shadow right over top of that little bit of diox with that asphaltum at the back of the flower, right behind the center. So it's a small float. All it's doing is just deepening that shadow back there. And then I'm going to take that same color and go right over top of that diox on the wings of our butterfly. And all it's going to do is tone that a little bit and deepen it just a little bit. I'm just correcting a few things as I go. So that little bit of asphaltum, all it's going to do is deepen that shadow in behind the center of the flower. So this is the fun part of doing these daisies. I love this part. We're going to deepen that shadow in the center of the flower. Remember the little C stroke in the center of the flower? I'm going to put a little float of asphaltum in there. Again, just deepens it. Deepen that little shadow at the front edge of the center. It's just a weak float of asphaltum, about the same as what you put on the flowers. But it does deepen that, gives you a little extra depth and defines those shapes a little bit better.
Okay, Reynolds, we're going to need to know what sport your grandson's How? My grandson just jumped 49.4 feet at a track meet. Like, high? Because I hope not.
I'm gonna go with long jump.
I'm gonna go with long, like double long.
I'm hoping. So we're going to add a little bit of highlighting.
What sport?
To our daisies, and we're going to do that with little dip dots of warm white. And I like to take them out past the edge and out onto the petals, right out over onto that purple that you worked so hard to put in.
It was long jump.
Oh, good.
Wow. That's a distance.
So
I would have been worried if it was height.
A few little dots just to create a little texture in the center of this flower. Like so. So each one of the daisies is going to get that softening in there. Go out past the edge of the petals. Now you may notice that there's some space and it's a little ragged back there behind that flower. That's okay. All these little dip dots, this texture is going to take care of that. And it's going to make the centers of these flowers feel a little lighter, a little softer, and a little fluffier. I like dip dots.
Dippy dots?
Dippy dots. They create textures, nice little textures in the centers of flowers. It helps keep them looking airy and light, not so heavy. And it softens a few things. So whenever you've got a border that is perhaps looking a little rough in the center of a flower, throw in a few little loose dip dots. I try very hard not to make them too uniform, because I find if they're uniform, they just look like they're stuck there. So I like that, variety of sizes. teeny tiny all the way up to nice fat ones. They look great. And make sure they come out past the center of the flower so that they go out onto the petals. It just gives that a nice airy look.
Oops.
And then I'm going to take, you can do this with asphaltum or you can do it with a little bit of lamp black. Whichever you have on your palette at the time works just fine. Because you're not going to use a ton of it. And it's just a series of little dots, same way. Again, take them out over the edges of the petals. But this is just a light shading color. We just want a few. We don't want to bury all of that color that we've got in there. And I like having a few little ones in the center. Daisies are just happy flowers. I love painting daisies. I remember even going back to the 80s when, toll painting classes were really becoming very, very popular. I remember seeing a teacher painting daisies and showing how to do them with comma strokes. And she had just absolutely perfect little fat daisies. They were so pretty and so delicate. And she did it all just with one little stroke, each little petal, and she just made it look like it was the easiest thing in the world. Until you have to learn how to do comma strokes. And then it wasn't so easy. Lots and lots of practice.
Is that why you don't do daisies with comma strokes?
No. The biggest thing, people often wonder, well, what was the whole point behind studying all of that C stroke and comma strokes and S strokes and whatnot? It isn't that you necessarily use each of those strokes in everything that you paint. It's simply because it teaches you brush control. Mm-hmm. It gives you the ability to control your brush. And that's what makes the difference. If I hadn't learned to do comma strokes and whatnot, this type of thing would have been impossible for me. Because now I can control a brush. I know what it's going to do. I know how much pressure I need to apply. I know how much paint needs to be in my brush. That all comes with practice. Every bit of it. Yeah, don't learn it overnight.
No.
But once you learn it.
I used to, as my old boss said, I used to waste paint.
Yeah.
I would spend 20, 30 minutes with my airbrush and just...
Waste paint.
Waste paint.
And see, now I'm of the opinion that the only time paint is wasted is when it stays in the tube.
Yeah, it stays in the bottle or in the can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay. You're wasting paint. I'm not wasting paint. I have to warm up.
Yeah.
It's not a waste. And it's just black.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got gallons of it.
Yep. So if you're looking at your flowers and they're not quite bright enough for you, don't be afraid to take a little bit of titanium white and put a little float at the tip of the petals. If you feel that they're not giving you a bright enough look, especially at the tip. Don't be afraid to put a little highlight up there. Just because the teacher or the artist or the designer hasn't written it in the pattern, if you feel it needs a little extra highlight, if it's not working for you and you want it a little bit brighter, put it in.
Got a good question from Janet Demon.
Hi, Janet.
Could you explain the word toll in toll painting?
I certainly can.
I just read it meant painting on tin.
Yes, it does. It originates in France, believe it or not. And a lot of metal work at a particular point in time, milk buckets, cream buckets, bowls, things like that, they were very expensive to have enamel work done. It was something that only the rich could afford. And so the folk art, the folk, meaning the word folk means people, the average person would use paint to decorate all of their tinware, all of their metalware. And so that's where the term came from. It was toll painting, so they would decorate all of their metalware. And that goes back several hundred years.
We need the more you know rainbow.
The more you know rainbow. Okay, that one took me a minute. So I'm going to highlight that little knob at the top of my teapot with a float of thinned warm white, heavily thinned warm white, just to get it round. It is black on black, so I just want to give it a shape. So I just put a little float on the upper left-hand side of that little knob or cap on our teapot. Now, coming down here to the bottom of our teapot, I'm going to do the same thing. Just under the edge of that pot, I'm going to put a weak float of warm white. It's not a highlight, it's just something to separate it off of the surface.
You learn something new all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've got my centers in. I love these daisies. It's very pretty with the purple. I like it. So let's talk about these leaves. We've done so much work on the flowers and on that butterfly, but we haven't talked about these leaves. I wanted to get those two things out of the way.
The baby poo leaves?
The baby poo leaves. So my shading color for these leaves is, as always, it's plantation pine. You can use sap green if you're using the fluid acrylic. Or if you're using a different brand of paint, feel free to use the sap green. Jo Sonia has a beautiful sap green too. So I'm going to use a little bit of sap green from mine, I think, because that's what I have handy. But in the pattern, it's plantation pine. So I'm going to shade underneath my petals with a float of that dark green. You could use a black green too, that'll work. And then put a nice little shadow down the center vein of the leaf. Just like so. And then I'll put a shadow down the center vein. So I get a nice little curve in my leaves. I'm watching on the screen. I keep dropping it right out of the shot. So underneath those petals. And then down that center vein to get that nice curve. I love leaves to have a bit of an arch in them. They're never just flat. And having that little curve implied by putting that center vein in makes a world of difference. So right down to the point of the leaf. Now the little leaves, all of these little ones that you see, I tuck those in all the time. They're just filler leaves. I don't often put something down the center vein. I usually will just put a little C-stroke float at the base of the leaf so that it's darkest at where the stem connects. And I have a purpose for that. What that little float does is imply that the leaf curves. And to me, it is important to have that little curve in there. And I missed a leaf, forgot to put the center vein in. There we go. And I'm going to come up here and do this. So again, a little C-stroke float at the base of the leaf where it joins the stem. And same here. And I got to get underneath those petals on my little daisy. I do love that purple in there. It's very pretty. So I've got a nice little shadow in the center. I'm going to dry this real quick. And then I got to put a shadow down the center vein of this leaf. It's just a little too wet. I had a little too much glaze in my brush. There we go. So now I've got a nice little shadow. I'm going to deepen this one here because it's not quite deep enough. So I'm not getting any shape out of it. There we go. There. So I have center veins in. I've shaded underneath my leaves, or underneath my petals, sorry. And I'm going to use a highlight color next, and I'm going to use matcha green. You can use any light colored green you want. If you prefer olive green, use that. If you prefer margarita, use that. I'm just using a little bit of matcha green for mine. Now I'm going to brush this out as if to float. Now this is my highlight color, and this, let me show you something. If you look at the leaves on this piece, you're going to notice that there's a little bit of texture on the edges of these leaves right here. And essentially what it is this is a little miniature sea stroke that I've sort of staggered in along the edges. It's not just a plain float, although you can certainly do it that way. But I wanted to just take a minute to show you how to do that. So I have my brush loaded as if to float, and I'm going to put a little sea stroke in. And it's an abbreviated stroke, so that at the edge of my leaf, I kind of get this serrated appearance. Just like that. It's like these little miniature sea strokes all along the edge of my leaf. Now, I do it very quickly, and I don't really worry too much about it. It is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Good heavens. I don't need them to be exactly perfectly spaced. It's just to create a little texture. So I tend to just sort of scribble them in, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So when I do this sort of serrated edge, it is not a neat and tidy float. I'm not worried about it being neat and tidy. It just creates a little bit of texture at the edge of the leaf. And then my float down the center of the leaf opposite the shadow gives me some nice separation, and it gives me a nice highlight. So a lot of the time when I'm doing this kind of thing at the edge of the leaf, I'm not really thinking or overthinking it. I'm just trying to get a little texture in. So it's not neat and tidy. It's not perfect. It's just this sort of little blunt chisel edge sea stroke at the edge of the leaf. And it's a tiny little highlight. I don't putz with it too much. But it gives the edges of those leaves a nice serrated look. And then there's my highlight. So highlight. But again, this comes back to brush control. What we were talking about earlier about brush control. These things take practice and they take time. They do not happen overnight. So on those little filler leaves, I'm using the whole chisel edge of the brush, and I'm just putting a little float at the tip of the leaf. Just like that. Little highlight to give us a nice point on these leaves. But by putting that highlight on the extreme point of each of those leaves in the shadow where it joins the stem, it again implies the curve in the leaf. I just realized I forgot something here. Good grief. So nice little highlight. And I'll come down and finish these two down here. I also, when I'm doing these floats, I don't use color full strength. I always add a little bit of glaze or water to it to thin it out a little so that I have control. I want to be able to put layers on without making things heavily opaque. So if I really want to brighten up that leaf, I'm not going to bury it by putting in a little extra here and there. I just like that texture at the edge of the leaves. So we have highlights in. And now I'm going to go to my script. I'm using, this one is my 10-aught extra long detail liner. Do I have my 15 here or 5? Yeah. Got my 15-aught for this. I'm going to thin out a little bit of matcha green. I love this part, doing all of these little vines and tendrils and all of those connecting things. The first thing I'm going to stroke in, the stem for this little daisy up here. I'm going to stroke that in.
What'd I miss?
Not too much. I don't know.
Why do you use the fast drying glaze?
The fast dry glaze keeps the paint moving smoothly. It gives it a little additional open time. It means that it stays wet a little bit longer than if I used it just with water. So it gives me a lot of control and a lot of correctability. So if I need to fix something, I can. But once it's completely dry, it also gives my paint a lot more stability. So for things like this, when I'm doing little tiny detail lines, little itty bitty details, fine line work and whatnot, every one of us has had the instance where we've gone to varnish something with all this line work on and we brush it right off. The biggest reason for that is that the paint literally got so thinned when we were doing the line work that there was no more binder left in it. All you're putting down is pigment and there's nothing to hold it onto the surface. By using a fast dry glaze, I'm keeping all of the binders with my paint, or I'm actually adding a binder to it, and it allows me to thin my paint without diluting it, and that's the difference.
Would floating medium work the same?
No, it does not. Floating medium is just a lubricant. Quite literally a water-based lubricant that will...
It's like Windex for airbrushes.
Yeah, it just helps paint flow, but it doesn't do anything for the adhesion. And which is why I use the fast dry glaze, because it doesn't affect the paint's adhesion. It actually improves it, especially when we're doing all of this fine detail work where you need your paint to be very, very thin. And I wanted to show you an example. When you're thinning paint, especially for line work and a variety of other things, how many times have you floated something and then realized that you have all this color on the opposite side of the float? It's because the pigment has separated. There's so much water in there that the pigment has separated from the paint. And it's just sitting on the surface. It's no longer got any binders left in it. So it's not going to stick to the surface. And that's how come when we go to put varnish on or touch up something and we suddenly realize that all of that detail work, all of that line work that you worked so hard to get it done is washing off. And that's why, because there's nothing left in the paint to hold it to the surface. So that is why I will use a medium like the Jo Sonja's. Finny is another good one. It's actually a fast drying glaze. It stays open as long as you need it to, and it closes very quickly. So it doesn't stay open so long that you don't have any control over
it. It's now on my need to buy list.
Yep. The Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze, I swear by it. It does such a beautiful job on this stuff. If you don't know what it looks like, this is it.
You can bring it closer to you.
just
There
like
you
that.
Yeah.
This is going to take a while to get used to because I keep pushing it forward thinking I need it up there, but
Nope.
no. But Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze. It's good stuff. Works beautifully for this. So I've got all of my little vines and tendrils in. Look how pretty those daisies are. So we have to do some fun stuff. It's time to do some fun stuff, and then we're going to finish out our butterfly. So, where did my stamp set go?
Is it in the other cart? Nope.
Nope. So, I got these off of Amazon. These are flipping awesome. Love them. So I'm using a stays on stamp pad. Oh my God, I can't even speak English today. And I'm going to use my stamp set.
How much water do you add to your glaze?
I don't add water to my glaze. I just use the glaze like I would water.
Yep. And no, we don't carry the glaze on the website.
If you are looking for Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze, you can go to joesonia.com. You can go to Erica Joanne's website for that. And if you're in Canada and looking for it, countrybear.com, countrybearwood.com has it, as does stockade.ca. They both carry it. So it is available.
Oh, there's Gail Woolsey.
Hi, Gail.
I have a bottle of Finny and never knew what it was for.
Oh, I love Finny. It's just very hard to get. It's a great product. So I'm going to do Summertime Tea. I love this little stamp set. This is just the best thing since cookies. And I'm going to stamp the word summer. S-U-M-R. Yeah. I love the fact that when you're stamping with this type of thing that you never quite know if it's going to be straight and level, which is kind of fun. I kind of like that less than perfect look.
It's a surprise
It's
every
a surprise
time.
every time, yeah. The other option too is that in the line drawing, I actually stamped on the line drawing before I scanned it. So if they don't have the stamp set, they can just simply cut out the tag.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
decoupage it on, just using some matte medium or some decoupage medium. So I'm going to do Summertime Tea.
Where do you get your Joe Sonia glaze?
I get mine from Country Bear. Yeah.
Can we see your stamp set up close before you finish?
Of course.
Absolutely.
This thing was such a great deal. I forget who it was. I think it was Jessica that pointed it out. She posted a link for it in the Facebook group, and I went, "Oh, I got to go check that out." And I went, "There's no way that's only $20. There's no way." And I wasn't sure what kind of quality. It's a fabulous set for $20. It's a great set.
There you go.
So, I mean, it was at the time, I think I paid $19.97 for it, something ridiculous.
And with Prime?
With Prime, shipping was free. It's great. Loved it.
What do you clean your stamps with?
Little bit of you watch your mouth. You mind your business.
Mind your business.
When I think to clean them, am I okay now?
Yeah.
I will use either a baby wipe or a little bit of an alcohol wipe, something like that.
When she decides to clean them.
When I decide to clean them. I am the first to admit that I am less than meticulous when it comes to cleaning these things sometimes. I just get too wrapped up in what I'm doing to think about it. It's much like the stencil that I used today. So, Summertime Tea. Look at that. How fun is that? I love that you can stamp these little things in. It's just
Well, apparently it wasn't Jessica.
No?
No. She says, nope, wasn't me.
It was one of the girls anyway. It's just, regardless of who posted it, it was a great find. for the $20. I'll have to scare up the link for it because it's just, this is an awesome set. Look at this.
Wait, yeah, we got our Happy Mail from Gail Wolseley, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
I did. And I'm wearing my Bumblebee.
She's wearing the Bumblebee. And the $50 from the card is going straight to the puppers.
Yep.
It's going straight into our donations.
Yep. It was an awesome thing. Thank you so much, Gail. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you made me leak. I got all misty-eyed.
She got misty-eyed. And pet your pupper.
I'm trying to get these back in the same order they're supposed to go in. Yes. Oh, there we go.
Pet your pupper, Chloe.
Yes, Gail's got a pupper's named Chloe.
Can we get a sneak peek at other teapots you're working on?
Sure. They're on my desk over there.
Yeah. What else? What's your opinion on Joe Sonia's Magic Mix?
I have some. I have used it. I still keep coming back to my fast dry glaze. It's supposed to be that do everything product, but it still doesn't have the consistency that I want. And that's how I'm going to put that. It doesn't give me the consistency that I want. So I keep coming back to the fast dry glaze because that's my favorite. So this is that set of stamps from Amazon. It has all of the numbers, all of the uppercase, plus some symbols, and all of the lowercase, and that was for $20.
So you did 3 teapots?
I have 5 drawn, and I have 2 on the go.
You want to show them the rose? Or the
Let me show me the rose. Show me the rose. So remember the teacup with the rose? There's the teapot. So, and be kind, because it's nowhere near finished yet. So, this is the one for the rose, and then we have one for the sunflowers, which is just base coated right now. And I have drawings for, I think, a total of 8. Jeez. So, yeah, there's a bunch of...
You asked for teapots.
You wanted teapots? I'm doing teapots.
This is what you get.
So I have 8, and then that kind of parlayed into something else, and now I'm working on flower pots and topiaries. So because my brain went off on another direction. So welcome to my brain. You could be here a while. So, but now I used this stamp set. That doesn't mean you have to rush out and go buy, the $20 stamp set. You can use something like this. These ones are available from Michael's Crafts. They usually have them in that bin section at the front of the store where they have all of the bargains. These are a Craft Smart brand with these little mini stamps. These are really handy. They're usually like under $3 or under $4, depending on where you are. They're super easy. They come in a variety of fonts, and they always seem to have some in those bins. And these are fantastic. I have 4 or 5 sets of them, and I use them all the time. I did, however, get to see when they posted this one, I had to check it out to make sure, that the quality was there, that they did what we needed to do. And this is a great set for the money. So there's those. If you want something a little bit larger, the Michael stores also carry this. This is their Recollections brand. And they have them in a variety of sizes. These ones, I think, are about 1/4 inch in size. They're a little bit bigger. They're ideal for bigger projects. Maybe not necessarily for something like this, but if you were to blow this up, make it bigger, that would work great. And then they have these big 1/2 inch stamps as well. You got to have all the toys, or at least I do. So that's my little collection of alphabet stamps. To me, they're a must to have them. I just like adding little fun stuff to things. And again, if you don't have the stamps and you don't want to make the purchase, you certainly don't have to. I took in the line drawings, I just stamped right onto the tag. So all you have to do is make a photocopy, cut it out, and then decoupage that tag right into that spot. It'll fit. So that simplifies things, and you don't have to go out and buy all of the materials for it.
My Yorkie almost caught a badger today.
Oh my.
He was safe about an inch when he got under the gazebo.
Ooh, that could have gone badly.
Yeah, that could have been really bad.
So we have our daisies done. We have our tag stamped. We have our leaves done. Look, I'm telling you, the elevator doesn't go to the top floor some days. I just realized.
Can we get the pattern? Oh, she has to finish painting it first.
Yeah.
Then she'll do up the pattern for you.
Yeah, the pattern for the teapots, we're going to start putting them up this week. I had to take a break because I had to finish off my groups piece because it's got to go up this week too. So.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing Dragonflies.
Today's the last day that you can get your pattern.
Yep.
If you haven't gotten it already for the class on the 26th.
Yep. If you're a part of the membership group, your free pattern is only still available one more day, so you have to get it.
Go get it now.
Go download it.
Go get it.
Goodness gracious. I missed it.
But the video's available.
Yep.
And we do apologize for the flickery camera stuff that we had to deal with.
But we have no flickering today.
Yeah, we got a camera that doesn't have that sensor at all in it.
Yeah.
And as long as she doesn't
bump
the tripod, we're good.
Yep, we should be fine. So we've done the highlighting for our leaves. We've done the shading on our flowers and the center portion on our flowers. We've added all of the little line work and the tendrils. And
people are asking, what about the handle?
Yeah, the handle is done. We've got it base coated white, shaded with asphaltum. So now we're going to do some last minute details on the tag, on all of the white areas. I use my Uniball Signos. I think everybody knows that this is my jam. I love my Uniball.
Don't forget your tag string.
Nope, I won't.
She did that once.
I did that on the teacup. I didn't realize it for the longest time, and then I was teaching it and realized, oh my goodness, I didn't put the string in the tag. So I go around all of these white areas close to the edge, and I put in just a sketchy line with that Uniball because I like it. I like the sketchy line.
Just found the alphabet stamp for $9.99 on Amazon.
Oh wow, good for you.
String? Yes.
Yeah, there's a string holding that tag.
Yeah.
So I like to put that little sketchy line wherever the white was. And it is sketchy. It doesn't have to be straight, doesn't have to be smooth, doesn't even have to be all on the white. It can go off. It's all good. And I do the same thing to the handle.
What page did you add on the membership group pattern?
Oh, no, I added a correction to the group pattern.
Oh, just a correction.
Yeah, so the correction page is on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says correction page in the download. You'll see it.
You made an oopsie.
I made an oopsie. Forgot to put the instructions for the center of the sunflower in. That's not on.
Oops.
And I think it was in my document. I just didn't cut it and paste it.
Oh, okay.
I put everything into a document and then I make sure it's all good and then I'll cut and paste it and put it into the final piece. And I think when I did that, I missed it. So I had to go back and find it.
It's a 0.3 millimeter?
Which?
0.03 millimeter?
This one is 0.38.
3.8.
Yeah. It's teeny tiny, ultra fine, which is why I like using them.
And it's a Uniball.
And it's a Uniball. It's a Japanese ultra black ink.
Yeah.
And we just got a whole pile of them in.
Yeah. So you can go to the website, pick up yourself a Uniball Signo 0.38 millimeter pen.
And if you're a member, don't forget to use your coupon code, your membership coupon code. And if you're not a member, there's a secret coupon code. You can go in and
God.
You can't miss it. It's right at the top of the page.
What's Jessica got here?
Oh, Lord.
We're like the Jeffersons. Moving on up to the sky, we finally have a camera that won't die.
Well, it wasn't dying. It just was doing weird stuff. So you're going to do that same thing to all of the petals on these daisies. I like that little scribbly, sketchy line. You can add little details here and there. Now, when you are done with all of this ink work on your piece, I recommend hitting it with a coat of matte spray before you varnish. I have not had it smear on me. However, having said that, there is no reason to expect that it wouldn't, because this is not an acrylic ink. It's a gel ink. And so ideally, just to be on the safe side, hit it with a couple of light coats of matte spray just to set it before you varnish, just to be on the safe side so you don't smear ink anywhere. Because I work with Deco Art's Duraclear varnishes, and I usually use the Ultra Matte. I haven't had any issues. However, just to be on the safe side, I spray everything with matte spray. Whenever I'm working with multiple mediums, it gets hit with matte spray.
I think it was a number 2 rigger there,
Yes.
Pat, that you used for the petals for the daisy?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a number 2 rigger. As I said, if you're not comfortable with the longer bristle, the longer LO that is in the rigger, don't be afraid to do it with a round brush or a nice long script liner. It will do the trick.
And does the butterfly have a body?
It does, and we're going to finish that in a minute because we got to go finish our butterfly. But I want to finish this out before we do that. So I'm just putting in my sketchy lines around my daisy. We got so much stuff this week. It was so funny.
Vietnamese spring rolls?
Oh, yummy.
Yum. Oh, you're trying them in the air fryer. Fingers crossed.
Oh, we've done them in the air
Yeah,
fryer.
we've
They're
done
great.
them in the air fryer. Yum,
They
yum,
come
yum,
out
yum.
great.
We got a real good crunch to them. I'm sorry to be so late. Don't be.
You're welcome no matter what time you get here.
But did not want to miss the fun even for a couple of minutes. Oh, you got more than a few minutes. We still got another name to draw, and yeah, that's about it.
And we still got butterflies to
Oh
paint.
yeah, we got a butterfly to paint.
And we still have some gold to put on.
Some gold.
I like it.
I like gold.
This boy gets weirder. Sometimes I think I dropped him on his head and just don't remember it.
Nope. All damage is self-inflicted. Insurance does not cover.
Okay. So I'm going to add a final little highlight to the top of our teapot right here. Just a little stroke of white. Just to give that a little punch.
There's 2 colors in the daisy petals. There's Bahama blue and titanium white.
A little bit. And I only use the titanium white if I wanted a punch of highlight at the tips.
Yeah.
In this one, I switched out the Bahama blue and used dioxazine purple.
Ah.
So it has sort of
Okay.
a lavender tone. So look at this. Look at the difference.
Oh
This
wow,
is fun.
it does punch it out a little
Yeah,
bit more.
it punches it. Well, it just changes it up. The idea that you are married to having to use the colors that are only in the pattern.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. If you prefer something with perhaps more of a little purplish tone, go ahead and use a Diox purple for all of those shading areas and those white flowers. There's nothing that says you have to use exactly the color that I used.
Renee, it's from eating all that glue.
Glue.
I found glow in the dark Elmers.
He found glow-in-the-dark Elmers. We also found glitter glue yesterday. So
I wasn't happy about that.
he wasn't happy about the glitter glue, but he'll get over it.
And it was Elmer's. The little cow on the on the label.
Yeah.
You can't
So let's talk about our butterfly up here.
the string first.
The string. It's bugging them, isn't it?
It's bugging them.
Okay. We'll put the string in. They're worried I'll forget.
What names did I draw today? Today was Linda Safranco and Cookie Cooper.
Yep. We still have one more to go. So I'm just using a little bit of thinned warm white. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about this butterfly. So our butterfly was based with warm white. I went in and I shaded close to the body with thinned Diox purple so that it matches those flowers. So I got the Diox purple in there. And then I deepened that purple with a float of asphaltum. So now I want to punch these wings up a little bit. I want this to be really pretty. So I'm going to use a little bit of titanium white or warm white, doesn't matter which. And we're going to put a float right at the edges and the tips.
You could bring it closer to you.
I know.
There you go. So they can see what you're doing.
Yeah. So out to the point and on the tip of the leaves, the wings. Hello. Just like so. Now that little float's going to soften some of those polka dots. That's okay. It's also going to define the edges of this butterfly a little better, and that's okay too.
I've never seen a polka dotted butterfly.
Ever seen a purple daisy?
No.
No. So I'm going to dry that real quick, and then we're going to use some heavily thinned
Are you
white.
going to taste the glow in the dark glue or what?
Don't.
No. I
was
don't
going to
eat.
say don't tempt him.
I don't eat the glue no more.
So I'm just putting a little float of that thinned, heavily thinned warm white on one side of the body. And I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to grab my liner brush and thin out a little bit of warm white. We're going to put his antenna in.
Are you going to leave the rim under the lid black? Yes.
Nope.
No. Yes. No.
So 2 nice little thin strokes of thinned warm white for the antenna.
I think it looks good black.
Going to dry this.
Yes to the purple daisies.
Yes, to the purple daisies.
I'm guessing they have seen purple daisies.
Oh, maybe. And then I'm going to take my Uniball, and again, I'm just going to put a very light, fine, scribbly line and a few little detailed lines on each wing. And it's just a few very fine lines. And by scribbly, I mean that it's just that. It's kind of scribbly and wonky and wobbly, and then I go back over it, let those 2 lines overlap, and it just gives you sort of a soft stitched look at the edges of those wings.
Oh, somebody's church got a new organ.
Nice.
Cool.
It's a big deal for a church.
Yeah.
So now we have a nice stitched look on our butterfly. So I'm going to go grab this. I love these. Like, seriously love these. These are the Deco Color Extra Fine Liquid Gold Paint Pens. And they work just like this one. This is the big one that I use for doing borders and whatnot. I like this one because they've got a super fine point. You give them a good shake, and it works just like a marker. So the edge of the teapot, I'm going to color in with this gold. So that black band on the edge of the teapot is going to be gold. And I work up right to that little tag line, or that string on the tag. And I'm going to do the same thing on this little bit right before that lip, right above on the lid. Comme ça. Now there is a back edge to this teapot. And we're going to grab that small angled shader and a little bit of thinned warm white. Don't want a ton of it, but just a little. And we're just going to put a little float back here to give that lip little shape. And I'm just going to have a quick look over everything, make sure I haven't missed anything. Now, if you want to add a highlight to the belly of this or in here, you can do that with a dry brush and a little bit of warm white. Just be very soft with it. We don't want it to be too heavy-handed. And I want to make sure that my brush is really dry for this. So just a little highlight, nice and soft. And I do the same thing on the belly over here. Again, keeping it nice and soft so that it's not, I don't want a really heavy highlight.
I have white and purple African daisies in my yard.
Oh, pretty.
Wow. Do you have Do they have silver in the paint pen?
Yes. You can get the paint pen in a copper, a gold, and a silver.
Ooh, copper would be awesome.
Copper is very pretty.
I tried doing a motorcycle instead of chrome.
In copper?
Well, copper and brass.
Ooh, that'd be pretty.
And there was a couple of, I won't say cheap ways of achieving that. But when the guy came in with these solid brass pegs, and we installed them, and he sat on it, they snapped.
Oh, no.
And he just went, well, if brass is that weak, I don't want it on my bike.
No. Well, brass was
Okay.
brass is quite soft. So we're going to add a little border to this. And I'm going to use my gel pen. I'm going to use my white gel pen for this. And my steel edge ruler. And this little border is just a little L-shaped or crossed element in the corner. And I want it to be, it's going to start at about 1/2 inch from the outside edge. And I like that this, especially on the wood surface, that this pen skips a little bit. I like that. So I put a line in about 1/2 inch, starting about 1/2 inch from the edge.
Do you have a table to sit on? Question mark?
Oh no, there's no horizon in this one. No table mark. You could put one in if you really feel it needs it. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to give it about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to stop just shy of the edge of that teapot where I don't want to get too close to it. This pen is almost empty.
Where do you get the pens? Amazon.
These?
Yeah.
Off the website.
No, the Deco.
Oh, the gold paint pens? Yes, they're available on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I've got the first line of this corner element in place. And then we're going to come about 1/8 of an inch away. So I'm going to give it about 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to stop about 1/4 of an inch from the end, so that I have a little space between them. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. I give it about 1/8 of an inch. There we go. And that's your little corner element in place. I'm going to dry this real quick. Now, I would hit this with probably 2 really light misted coats of a Deco Art matte spray, because I'm working with different materials. I've got stamp ink here, I have gel ink throughout, and then I have this white gel over here. So in a case like that, just to eliminate any possibility of something smearing, I always give it a couple of light coats of matte spray just to seal everything down nice and tight before I varnish. And that is our summertime tea. Now, if you want to go in with your with your ruler and create a horizon back there if you really want to. And if you want to know how to do that, it's pretty simple. I'm going to take a ruler. I don't like having it right here. I find that just looks like it's floating. I always prefer to have it a little back from the bottom. And use a ruler to make sure that it's nice and straight. Now I'm going to use my chalk pencil to put this in. I'm just going to very lightly put a line in so that it stops just in front of the teapot. And then on this side, it's obviously going to be much shorter. So I've got a tabletop line in there. And then I would just take my angled shader and a little bit of warm white. Again, thin it out. You don't want this full strength. Remember how we put the float at the edge of the teapot and at the top of that little knob, it's a weak float. I'm just going to put that same weak float right there. And I'm going to stop short of the teacup. I don't want to take it right to the teacup because then it looks like a hard line. You don't want that. So just a little bit like so. And then I'm going to dry it. And then we're going to take that Factus black and get rid of our graphite lines. I love the fact that that's a dressmaker's pencil that I used as a chalk pencil, so I can literally just wash that line away with a little bit of water and it goes bye-bye. So I have a subtle line here. There we go. So now on my first one, I did not use a horizon line. You don't have to. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the edge if you don't want it to. So if it, for whatever reason, you're not happy with it, like I am, I'm just going to float a little black at that edge there just to soften it because I found it was a little garish. And same here. I'm just going to clean up that edge a little bit. There. My line was not pretty. I didn't like it, so I'm going to soften it. There we go.
That's the line.
There we go. That's better.
Looks better with no table line.
I like it either way. It's fine either way, but there was something I was going to do. Right, graphite lines. So Factus black eraser, your best friend when you're working on black surfaces because it doesn't polish the black paint. It is so frustrating to me to be erasing graphite lines only to discover that I've got shiny spots everywhere. And those shiny spots, by the way, do not go away when you varnish. You end up with a really irregular looking finish because of that shiny spot, because it doesn't take the varnish the same way. So there we go. Got all my graphite. Didn't do too bad this time. I didn't have graphite showing everywhere. There we go. And that is our summertime tea. Super easy.
Do you want another drawing?
Have we drawn all three?
No.
Okay, well then we have one more to do.
Fine. Spinning. And
spinning. That delay throws me off every time.
Belinda Dixon.
Belinda Dixon. You've got a 4-brush set of Dynasty black gold brushes coming to you. Melinda Dixon. So, Melinda, I don't know if we have your shipping information, so please go to the first page of my website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the home page, and send us your shipping information so that we can send you your goodies. Goodies. And we've got some nice goodies for next week. We're going to be working on something for Halloween next week. I know. But
Say what?
Yep, we're going to be working on Halloween next week. I have an idea for Halloween.
Halloween.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, Halloween.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So we're going to work on something for Halloween next week, and of course, it's a membership group. You've got a new pattern coming up this week as well, so you're going to be working on some mixed media. We're going to be using a wood grain stamp for this piece. And I've got a fun technique for a background. So,
just a quick question here.
Shoot.
What is a fountain brush?
Oh, okay. A fountain brush is really unique, and you can use it for painting berries or small flowers. It's a really unusual looking brush. It essentially is built like a round. It is blunt, but the bristles come out and spread out like a flower, almost like a fountain. It's a really nifty brush, and you can load it, single load it, double load it, pick up multiple colors on a fountain brush, and you can do some really cool stuff with it. So if I had one out, which I don't think I do, but if I did, I'd give you a quick demo on how it's used. But no, I don't have one out. Or do I? No, I don't. But
there's not a fountain brush in that?
No, it's more of a specialty brush and not one I use often. So I probably have one in one of my bins. I just don't have it handy right now.
Zombies, question mark?
No.
Nope, no zombies.
No zombies. Wait, I was having
Chalk pencil?
Look. Chalk pencil. Where is it?
I don't know what these are questions
If
are.
they're wondering where to get one, the best location to get one is cdwood.com.
There you go.
This Bowen chalk pencil, these are fantastic. It's a dressmaker's pencil.
Ah,
Yep.
there you go.
Works really, really well. And it is chalk, so it just, you can draw on stuff, and then you can just a little bit of water and it's gone.
They can't see that.
I know.
She's drawing all over the
I'm
painting
drawing
she
all
just
over
finished.
stuff, and yeah. Anyway, so that's it for us this week. If you're looking for the pattern for this one, the summertime tea, it is on the website. We do have a secret coupon code for you guys this week. It's up on the website. You just got to look for it. Wouldn't be a secret if I told you where it was. And the pattern is up. We have lots of the polka dot stencils in stock. All of the surfaces that we use, the arched panels and the jumbo tags. If you've been looking for the jumbo tags, they are now in stock. We got a bunch of those in this week. The 8x10 panels are in. What else? We're restocked completely on the red gel pens, the black gel pens, and the white gel pens. And I think that's it. And we've got more collage paper coming in, and we have more stamps coming in. Oh, that's the other thing. All of the grunge stamps and the vintage note stamps are now been restocked. So if you weren't able to find them, they are available on the website now. We got a whole bunch of them in. And
Not kidding.
for the membership group, we're going to be using a slim wood grain stamp, and those are on the website right now too. So we're going to be using that for our background. And I think that's it. I think I've covered everything I want to cover today.
Could you make an announcement when you start putting the teapot patterns online?
Absolutely.
Oh, she posts anytime there's a new pattern. She
Yeah,
posts.
it goes up, but yeah, those will be up very early. If not tomorrow, they'll be up very shortly.
What a great class. Thank you.
And thanks to you guys. As always, we really appreciate you coming and spending your time with us on Saturdays. We have a great deal of fun doing this. And if you have suggestions or concerns, or if you have any ideas for future classes or future lives, please let us know. We're always open to some great ideas. And you can send us a message through the little speech bubble on the homepage of my website. Just click on it and send us a message.
Somebody had a good idea right in the chat. It was a teapot, teacup, and saucer.
Oh, that would be pretty.
With the flowers and
We can do that.
That sounds like a good one. She has no problem doing that one.
I love doing teapots, especially these. These are, they're easy to paint. They're fun to paint. And I have 1,000,001 ideas.
I got a zombie body.
And he's got a zombie body. All right, guys, that's it for us this week. Again, thank you for joining us. And he's trying to figure out how to close us out.
I got new buttons.
He's got new buttons. Okay, guys. You guys have a great weekend. We love you, and please stay safe.